This is The Fix, where we also look at how books can help children with self-worth in the cool stuff. This week I sat down with feminist, poet, activist and writer Lebohang Nova Masango, the author of Mpumi's Magic Braids in the Cool Stuff.
You realize that you do not compel him to language. You realize that we all tend to hum while doing something insignificant. And didn't I blow your mind this time?
Hello and welcome to the Cool Stuff. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi Karima, thank you so much for having me.
Mpumi's Magic Beads, of course, is the book that I saw you perform at the Kingsmead Book Festival. How did the concept come about?
The book came from multiple sources. There was, me growing up in Braamfontein because of high school and seeing little girls moving through the city and wondering how do they experience this grimy, dark, dangerous city. So wanting to write something that's child-friendly and light for children. And also I did some honors research about school codes of conduct and hair, and I wanted to infuse those elements in terms of the hair politics as well. I'm a poet, so the book rhymes. So I needed to make it fun for myself.
Now, of course, I mean, you describe yourself as an activist, as a feminist, and of course you're also involved in issues around sexual health and promoting the well-being of girls and girl children. Does that politics find expression in Mpumi's Beads?
It definitely does. This is a book that aims to have young women affirmed and to affirm each other. So all of the work that I do, whether it be my work around anthropology, which is my master's work, or my activism work, or my creative work, everything is in service to young women and girls.
Now, a lot of people, because of the debate around identity and things like hair, particularly at schools, think that this is kind of the affirmation of black girls because it deals with black hair. But I've heard you say that this is a book for all children.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I had books that I read. My books were not gendered, were not racialized. I read anything and everything I could get my hands on. And so for me, the mark of a good book is it being universal and having themes that can relate to any child wherever they are. So while this book is very Johannesburg-centric, while my characters are black and do have black hair, this is just me reflecting a reality that I see every day. This is me writing also for, children who are in the city, because I noticed that we have a lot of books for children in rural and village settings, not much happening in the city, and I wanted to write about something that I know very well.
Now, you are also an ambassador for the Zazi campaign, and of course that deals with sexual health of girls, but you've also collaborated with rap artists and musicians. Tell us a little bit about that.
So with the Zazi campaign, that was wonderful. That was like about positive messaging for young women, getting young women to stand up for themselves, to use contraceptives, etc., etc. And what I loved about that is, again, I could bring my creativity to it. So we had an entire song. I used to travel around campuses speaking to young women about all of these things, making it fun, but also, serious. And with the rap as well, that is me bringing out like what I believe in the world and mixing it with hip hop, which is a very influential medium. So I love putting my art where people will receive it easiest, I suppose, and that is through the book, through poetry. Yeah, I want my work to travel in as many forms as possible.
Tips to young girls. I mean, there's so much that influences young women these days. There's the culture of reality TV, there's the over-sexualization of female bodies, there's gender-based violence. What are your tips to young women who perhaps don't have the resources that you have, but who know that they need to stand on their own feet and that they need to progress through life in ways that, put them at the center of their development?
I definitely think that it's important to collaborate with other young people. Always look beyond what you have and recognize that as much as you're trying to make it in life, your peers are trying to do the same. And we're always stronger when we work together. And that way, even though you may not have resources, even though your privileges are minimal, once you combine your strengths with those of others, your impact is really unstoppable.
Lebohang, you are also known as Nova, that's your stage name. Do you mind just performing the poem that you do in your collaborative work with Reason and with WHP?
Sure. Stand as tall as time, because these skies bear witness to how mere dust can rise to meet God in the air. There lies your story, from grime to glory. Struggles turn scripture inscribed into your spine to remind your backbone of what you've always known. The ground is not your home. Straighten up and fly right, endure and keep on. You are the celebration. Never a funeral march or swan song. This 808 of your heart beats only triumph from war. March on till life hands you an applause for the curse and the cause, for the fight and the flaw, for the sleepless nights of dreams that dance victory to your door. Keep resilience at your core and a church in your palms. You're the future that is fashioned from flight and freedom song. Stay low, keep firing, and it won't be too long if you endure. Mary Swagdily.
That, of course, the incomparable Nova performing her poem there. Peter, a big thing that's just happened. We know that the National Prosecuting Authority head, Shaun Abrahams, is going to be taken to court. Tell us quickly.
Yeah, well, it'll weaken him. Freedom Under Law have come across information that Nomgcobo Jiba, the former Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, has been in contravention of a court ruling seen at the NPA headquarters. Freedom Under Law has investigated it. They've been told that Shaun Abrahams not only knows about these visits, which are illegal, but has justified them on some grounds. Freedom Under Law now saying it's requested its attorneys to prepare an application to court seeking contempt of court orders against Abrahams and Jiba. That'll be a big story.
Absolutely. That, of course, will definitely be making headlines, and you must be looking out for that come this week ahead. Well, thanks for joining us. Now that you've had your fix, we'll see you again next Sunday.